is not that great. That's why you really got to kind of speak up. We're gonna have to probably Scooty and close together. Ain't no mic outlet for this thing. A microphone to the headphone? Oh, really? Where's the headache? What kind of headache? Pressure point. Right? It hurt. It hurt. It's a pressure point. Get rid of your headache. You know that?
I do it, but it never worked. It only worked when my middle school teacher did it on. I think it's because I like it.
Good to see you too, my brother. You got some more your core long? Okay. Yeah, this boy's short. Real short. I can scoot this over too.
Right here. Like this. And this. Go sit down. So let's get ready. So let's get ready. Yeah, got a lot of stuff that stream on YouTube.
Say you gotta do what?
Download a lot of things. I tried.
It's YouTube.
I tried. It wouldn't work. Download the neighborhood and all that stuff. Yeah,
all you need is YouTube.
But
it ain't Windows based.
What was that we downloaded?
Yeah, you should be able to stream
to live.
Huh?
I think it's because you can probably do it from an iPhone. Yeah, Android, you got to do all different types of stuff.
Well, no, it's this Windows based. This is running Windows 8.1.
So what do we have to download? Live on YouTube. But it don't work for a minute. I get it working out the room. Go and sit next to your grandma. Go sit next to grandma. Yeah. Well, right there. Connect it. I'm ready. I can get it working out the room.
Yeah, somebody coming.
She lost a trip. So now you had life.
We got a taste of that belt, taste of that leather.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know as soon as I came up. As soon as I came up, I'm like, oh man, that drove us back all the way up to the freeway. Nobody broadcasting live?
That was me.
Oh, that was me. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, boy.
Sit down, man.
If I can get the pain out of it, I'll be good.
That lady knew. That's not that lady knew. That lady said she didn't want to. Yeah, I told her.
But y'all was already, so the thing I was stuck in traffic.
Yeah, we was stuck in
I should
traffic.
have never even went up.
My folks, you must ain't see it. So you probably been on
20, 25.
Yeah, I was stuck out there. I was stuck that long though. I was probably stuck about 10, 15.
I'm right here.
Right. You must have been right. Y'all all must have been right behind me.
It took me another, when I posted it, it took me another like 7 minutes doing that. I'm like, I thought, come up back, Easter, come out.
What's the one pass?
Way behind me. If I told them to take that's why they right here. They right here, right now. They're way behind me. I know you ain't got that hog on your head. I know you ain't got that hog on your head. Horse, said that boy ain't got that Diane. Got that Diane, straight hog.
You disconnect. You disconnect to it.
Check that shake out.
Hey, that boy grabbed me just by this point. That dog for you now, you know. La 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 la.
That's your mom, your dad. That's how you play it right now.
Oh, yeah.
What time we at? 30. Is it 3:30?
No.
Let's go ahead and break. We already broadcasted.
Are we live?
We live. Everybody is watching.
Good looking at the first try.
Around and make the beat, the beat was uneven, where it will let you adjust the sound to lips, so that make the beat like the same all the way around. It's gone.
They got to show me to do mine. And actually, I got one that's chipped on me. I probably could Just cut it. Yeah. That way, as soon as I bought it, put that way out the package, meat, they like, let me see. Chicken. It literally about 5 minutes.
Cut it right there.
That's what you paid for it. That's what you paid for.
It was gonna be like $18, just a little short. The ram song. I got that.
It's actually a cooler. It's actually a cooler, right?
No, not that.
Y'all with that. Y'all
They
with
got
that.
that kazoo.
Y'all love the week. I am myself. Bye.
Sawed it off.
It's actually a cooler, right?
He said, y'all love the week.
Cooler,
But
right?
they left. They left. Well, they caught myself.
Wait. Was that a bow and arrow or
What's wrong
a
with that?
rifle? I'm not sure. That was
That was a crossbow. That was a railroad.
right.
That was a crossbow.
38 special. Bow and arrow. What a slide.
All right, shalom, everybody. All minds clear? We're going to pray in. This is Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 6, and verse 4. Hear, O Yisrael, Yahuwah our Elohim, Yahuwah is one. Shema Yisrael,
Shema Yisrael,
Yahuwah Eloheinu,
Yahuwah Eloheinu,
Yahuwah Echad.
Yahuwah Echad.
Shemot, or Exodus, chapter 20, at verse 3. We will have no other mighty ones
We will have no other mighty ones
against the Most High.
against the Most High.
We will not make any carved image
We will not make any carved image
or any likeness
or any likeness
of that which is in Shamayim above,
of that which is in Shamayim above,
or which is in the earth beneath,
or which is in the earth beneath,
or which is in the waters under the earth.
or which is in the waters under the earth.
We will not bow down to them,
We will not bow down to them,
nor serve them.
nor serve them.
For Yahuwah our El
For Yahuwah our El
is a jealous him,
is a jealous self,
visiting the wickedness
visiting the wickedness
of the fathers on the children,
of the fathers on the children,
to the third and fourth generation
to the third and fourth generation
of those that hate him,
of those that hate him,
but showing
for
kindness
showing kindness
to thousands of those
to thousands of those
who love him
who love him
and keep his commandments.
and keep his commandments.
We will not bring the name
We will not break the name
of Yahuwah our El
of Yahuwah our El
in vain.
in vain.
For Yahuwah
For Yahuwah
will not leave us unpunished,
will not leave us unpunished,
who brings his name in vain.
who brings his name in vain.
We will remember the Shabbat day
We will remember the Shabbat day
to keep it Kodesh.
to keep it Kodesh.
6 days we will labor
6 days we will labor
and do all our work.
and do all our work.
But the seventh day
But the seventh day
is the Shabbat
is the Shabbat.
Yahuwah our El.
of Yahuwah our El.
For in 6 days
For in 6 days,
Yahuwah made Shamayim
Yahuwah made Shamayim
and the earth
and the earth
and the sea
and the sea
and all that is in them,
and all that is in them,
and rested the seventh day.
and rested the seventh day.
Therefore Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day.
Therefore, Yahuwah barak the Shabbat day.
We will respect our father
We will respect our fathers
and our mothers,
and our mothers,
so that our days are long
so that our days are long
upon the earth.
upon the earth.
We will not murder.
We will not murder.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not commit adultery.
We will not steal.
We will not steal.
We will not bear false witness
We will not bear false witness
against our neighbor.
against our neighbor.
We will not covet
We will not covet
anything
anything
that is our neighbor.
that is our neighbor.
Father God, we give thanks for this day, Father, to set apart day. In order to gather together, Father, for your name's sake, give reverence unto your name, Father, give thanks unto your mercy, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you allow your spirit to go forth, Father. Allow your words to proceed out of the mouth of your servant, Father, according to your spirit. Allow understanding to be gained according to your spirit, Father. We pray and ask that you would just continue to just be with us, Father, on each and every day, Father. That you would watch over those people who might still be in traffic, Father. Allow them to make it safe. That you would allow your word to go forth allow your word to go forth pure, Father, so that it comes out the way that you want it to come out, Father. And all these things we pray, Hashem Yahuwah, on the Kaya Hoshua, Mashiach, O Rock, Hakodesh.
So be it.
You can get the word up.
I was about to use the big one on you.
The word go uninhabited, unhinged. You're unadulterated.
Undisputed.
It's under. Hey, mute your phones, please. The un.
A little bit of closer.
All right. Shalom, shalom. Good, Mark. All right,
Sing it. Oh yeah. So y'all know how we've been going through breaking down the law. Like the first, well, it's been like the second week of every month, so it just happened to fall that way. So we're trying to do it monthly. So this lesson is kind of gonna cover both. It's gonna cover the law and also the beginning. What is it?
clearing the end from the beginning.
Clearing the end from the beginning.
All right, so that's what we've been at. In my last, probably about 5 to 6 joints, declaring the end from the beginning. So we're gonna stay in that line. And this is gonna be called declaring the end from the beginning, Father and Son. Last one was called, I think, the door is shut. All right. So let's get into it.
Now mute your phones, please. Thank you.
Let's get on this one first. Give me Matthew chapter 10, verse 37.
Matthew, or Matthew, chapter 10 and verse 37. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
Read that one more time.
He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me.
So he says, if you love your father or your mother more than him, you are not worthy of him. Read.
And he that loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me.
So if you love your son or your daughter more than him, you're not worthy of him. Let me ask y'all a question. How does this go back to the beginning? And when I say beginning, I mean Genesis. Yeah. That's not what I'm looking for, but it's right. It's definitely right. Talking about Adam put somebody before y'all. Anybody else? Go ahead. I can do it. I'm not gonna do it. All right. We'll find. That's a good one. I like that one. That's right as well. All right, we'll see in a minute. So again, declaring the end from the beginning. Declaring the end from the beginning. Father and Son. So let me get Isaiah chapter 46. Pick it up at verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 46 at verse 9. Remember the former things of old, for I am Elohim. and there is none else. I am Elohim, and there is none like me. Declaring the end from the beginning.
Declaring what?
Declaring the end from the beginning.
From Genesis. Declaring the end from Genesis. So the end of the book, the beginning of the book has the actual end of the book. Read.
Declaring the end from the beginning. And from ancient times, the thing. And from ancient times.
What's another word for ancient? Old. Okay. That's sharp. I like that. Read.
And from ancient times, the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
He will do all his pleasure. He gave us this. He let us know that he declared the end from Genesis. All right. Get me on Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. So what we notice is there's a lot of people who profess to be Old Testament only, right? But what they really showing, they really don't know the Old Testament. And that's the sad thing. Go ahead.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime.
Aforetime?
Aforetime.
Aforetime, before. From the beginning, read.
Were written for our learning.
For what?
For our learning.
Written for our learning. So when we get over here to the New Testament and to Revelations, if we don't understand the old, then we definitely not going to understand the new. Definitely not going to understand it. Read.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
So through patience and comfort of these scriptures, we might have hope. So it's real important to understand the beginning. All right. Get me Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10.
The book of Hosea, chapter 12, at verse 10. I have also spoken by the prophets.
By who?
By the prophets.
From when?
I have also spoken by the prophets, and I have multiplied visions, and used similitudes.
And use what?
Similitudes.
Use similitudes. That word is demar, to be like, to resemble. Keep that in mind. So he said he's spoken by the prophets, and he used something in likeness or something that resembles similitudes. Read.
By the ministry of the prophets.
Of the who?
Of the prophets.
Of the prophets. All right. So he said he declared the end from the beginning, and he says he used similitudes, things that resemble something. Right? Is that clear?
Sure.
Okay. Let's go to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26.
Genesis or Bereshit, chapter 1, at verse 26. And Elohim said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea.
Let them have what?
Dominion over the fish of the sea.
And what else?
Over the fowl of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creep upon the earth.
So right here, man is what? Power. Right. He's in power. He has dominion. Right here, specifically Adam and Eve. But we're gonna see something that happened after Adam sinned. Something happened. Get me Job 9:24. So when y'all gave this to Adam, was Adam wicked? Nope. He wasn't wicked. He didn't do anything at that time, right?
Right.
Go ahead.
The book of Job, chapter 9, at verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked.
Given to who?
The hand of the wicked.
Given into the hand of the white. No, don't say that. Given to the hands of the wicked. So again, when he gave this to Adam, Adam wasn't wicked. He hadn't sinned at this time when it was given to him. But when he sinned, he lost it. Give me Matthew chapter 4. Pick it up at verse 4.
Matthew chapter 4 at verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Elohim. Then the devil take him up into a Kodesh city, and set him on a pinnacle of the temple. He said unto him, if you be the son of Elohim, cast yourself down, for it is written, he shall give his Malachim charge concerning you, and in their hands they shall bear you up, lest at any time you dash your foot against a stone.
Jump down to 7.
Verse 7. Mashiach said unto him, it is written again, you shall not tempt Yahuwah your Elohim. Again, the devil take him up into an exceeding high mountain, and show him all the kingdoms of the world, and the esteem of them, and saith unto him, all these things will I give you.
How he says, all these things will I give you. Must mean he over it, right? Somehow he got these things when it was originally given to Adam, right? Finish that out.
And he saith unto him, all these things will I give you, if you fall down and worship me. This,
no, we good right there. So he says he got control of these things. If I want to give it to you, I'll give it to you. Just a little stipulation in, fall down and make me your God. 2 Corinthians chapter 4.
Second Corinthians chapter 4.
Pick it up at verse 3.
2 Corinthians chapter 4 at verse 3. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost.
That are what?
That are lost.
Go ahead.
In whom the Elohim of this world,
what?
The Elohim of this world.
The Elohim of this world. So it's somebody else that's got control over this thing. Because Adam lost it. But in some kind of way, we got to get it back. Read.
In whom the Elohim of this world have blinded the minds of them which believe not.
With what?
Which believe not.
Which believe not. What's the biggest thing that Abraham is known for? Faith. Faith, right? And what is faith? To do what? Believe. To what? Believe. To believe. All right. So we know that Adam lost these things, but some kind of way we got to get it back. Let's try to find out how we're going to get these things back. Get this dominion back, right? Let's get Exodus chapter 4 and verse 22.
Exodus or Shemot chapter 4 at verse 22. And you shall say unto Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah, Israel is my son, even my firstborn.
It says, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. Right? So who's the Most High's son and his firstborn? Israel, right? All right, but we got a lot of cats that like to run to this. Say, Israel is the Most High's son. It's right here, right? And it is. That's what it's saying. All right, keep that in mind. Let's go to Genesis 17. Pick it up at verse 1.
Bereshit, chapter 17, and verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9.
How old is he?
90 years old and 9.
So Abraham at this time is 99 years old. Right? Read.
Yahuwah appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty Elohim. Walk before me and be you perfect.
You know what?
Be you perfect.
Go ahead.
And I will make my covenant between me and you and will multiply you exceedingly.
So right here, they let us know that Abraham is 99 years old. Right? He's an old man. At this time, the ages have started dwindling. People is not living 400, 500, 600 years anymore. All right? So we at the beginning of that. People ain't living to be super, super old again. All right? Pick it up at verse 15.
Verse 15. And Elohim said unto Abraham, as for Sarah your wife, you shall not call her name Sarah, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will increase her and give you a son.
Do what?
Give you a son.
Go ahead.
Also of her. Yeah. I will increase her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed.
He did what?
And laughed.
Abraham fell on his face and did what?
Laughed.
He laughed. Wow. So Abraham fell on his face and laughed. I wonder why. Why? Read.
And said in his heart, shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old?
So he's basically saying, I'm too old. Right? So this is funny to Abraham. He fell in his laugh in his heart. This is impossible. I'm too old. Right? Read.
And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear?
So he 100 and his wife is 90. Right? And he telling them that you're going to have a child. And they at the age, they're like, that can't happen. Exactly. They don't believe this. Read.
And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
So Ishmael would be Abraham's what? Firstborn, right? Because he already got a son. But this other child not born. So right here, read that verse again.
And Abraham said unto Elohim, oh, that Ishmael might live before you.
Oh, that Ishmael. So he's already got a son. Yah already got a son. See how this parallel out. But remember, he's basically saying, I'm 100 years old and my wife is 90 years old. We are old. We can't have any children. Oh, what you got? Get Daniel chapter 7 and verse 9.
The book of Daniel, chapter 7 and verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit.
Who said?
The Ancient of Days did sit.
Who is this? Who is the Ancient of Days? Ancient of Days. It's the Father. Right. But what's that? It said he did. What of days?
The Ancient of Days.
What's another word for ancient? We said it earlier. Old, right? So we know that the Most High is outside of time, but it's still saying that he's the Ancient of Days. So Abraham was old when he bare his son. The Most High is called the Ancient of Days. Keep it in mind, because they letting us know that Abraham is old. Keep this in mind. Go back. Let's get to Genesis chapter 18. Pick it up at verse 10.
Bereshit chapter 18 At verse 10. And he said, I will certainly return unto you according to the time of life. And lo, Sarah your wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door, which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age.
They were what?
Old and well stricken in age.
So they want you to really know this, because they keep emphasizing that they was old and well stricken in years. Written for a reason. Read.
And it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
What does that mean? It ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Right. So she don't have a cycle, so to speak, right? Anymore. What are you doing?
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself.
So she like, wait a minute. That's been about 70 years ago. About 50 years ago since that's been there. So she laughed, just like Abraham. No, wait a minute, y'all. I don't know about that one. Read.
Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure? My master being also old.
Both of us old. This can't go down. Read.
And Yahuwah said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for Yahuwah?
Is it anything too hard for y'all? Even though they both old, it's like, y'all doubt me. Is it anything too hard for y'all? Notice he doesn't say me right there. He says, is it anything too hard for y'all? Read. But they talking to y'all. Read.
Is anything too hard for Yahuwah? At the time appointed, I will return to you.
But then he said, at the time appointed, I will return to you. Read.
According to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied.
She did what?
Denied.
Don't deny it. Read.
Saying, I ain't laugh. Saying, I laugh not, but she was afraid. And he said, no, but you did laugh.
Yeah, you laughed. Yeah, you laughed. You didn't think I can do it. Yeah, you laughed. Because you 90 years old. It's past that time. This can't happen. That's what they genuinely feel. Ain't no way that this can go down. All right, give me Genesis chapter 21. Pick it up at verse 1.
Bereshit chapter 21 at verse 1. And Yahuwah visited Sarah.
He did what?
Visited Sarah.
He visited her. He told her, I'm coming back, right? Read.
As he had said, and Yahuwah did unto Sarah as he had spoken. But Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him.
So remember, both of them is old, right? Abraham 100, she 90. It's past the time of women. So in order for Isaac to be born, what had to take place? Something out of the ordinary had to take place for Isaac to come into the picture, right? Because it's clear that they both was too old because they kept stressing it, right? So in order for Isaac to be born, something out of the ordinary had to take place right here, right? And remember, he told you I spoke through similitudes. Read verse 2 again.
But Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which Elohim had spoken to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac.
Why is his name called Isaac? What does Isaac mean? Laughter, right? Because they was laughing. Thought that this couldn't take place. So his name means like laughter. I've seen it too. So again, it's clear that it's something special had to take place in order for Isaac to come on the scene to be born. Right? And we're going to see something in a minute. Genesis chapter 22. Pick it up at verse 1.
Bereshit chapter 22 at verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that Elohim did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham. And he said, Behold, here I am. And he said, Take now your son, your only son.
What son?
Your only son.
Wait a minute. Don't he got another son? What's his son name? Other son name? Ishmael, right? So Yah got a son, which is Israel, which is his firstborn. This is clearly, Abraham clearly got a son by the name of Ishmael. But right here he says something, take now your only son. Read.
Take now your son, your only son.
Take now your son, your only son. Read.
Whom you love.
Who what?
Whom you love.
Take now your son, your only son, whom you love. So let me see something. That word only is come from the Hebrew word H3173. It says only one, solitary one, the only unique one. And for the C, it's only begotten. I want y'all to keep that stuff in mind. Unique one or only begotten one, right? Keep that in mind. But we see it's something had to happen special to bring forth Isaac into this world. All right, read verse 2 again.
And he said, Take now your son, your only son, Isaac, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering.
What kind of offering?
A burnt offering.
So he's saying to offer Isaac up as a burnt offering. But we just looked at the definition that says unique one, special one, or only begotten. Right? Hold that. Get me Psalms chapter 2 and verse 7. Psalms chapter 2 and verse 7.
Psalms of Elohim, chapter 2 and verse 7. I will declare the decree. Yahuwah hath said unto me, You are my son. This day have I begotten you.
Now this is way after Israel came onto the scene, right? And he says, This day I will declare you are my son. Finish that out.
Ask of me, and I shall give you the heathen for your inheritance.
So right here it says that this is his son. Read verse 6.
Verse 6. Yet I set my king upon my Kodesh hill of Zion. I will declare the decree. Yahuwah hath said unto me, You are my son. This day have I begotten you.
This day have I what?
Begotten you.
Have I begotten you? That definition that had this in it. Unique one, special one, or begotten. Right? Again, this is well after Israel is already on the scene. Go back to Genesis 22. Matter of fact, hold that. Get me oh, he said, let's go back to Psalm chapter 2. Yeah. Matter of fact, yeah, read it out the Bible. Yeah. One moment.
Psalms or Telahim chapter 2 and verse 2. This is from the Hallelujah. The sovereigns of the earth take their stand, and the rulers take counsel together against Yahuwah and against his Mashiach.
Against who?
His Mashiach.
His Mashiach. That's deep. So he let you know that this Mashiach is begotten in a special way. That's what these scriptures is going to show you. All right. Get me Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 17.
Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 17. By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son.
Then what?
Offered up his only begotten son.
So it's calling Isaac this in the New Testament because they know that this is what this is talking about. So by faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promise offered up his only begotten son, calling Isaac the same exact thing. All right, now let's go back to Genesis 22. Pick it up at verse 2 again.
Bereshit chapter 22 and verse 2. And he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him therefore a burnt offering.
For what?
A burnt offering.
Offer him therefore a burnt offering. But it told him to go to a specific place. It says go to where?
Moriah.
Mount Lucy. Mount Mariah. I call my niece Mariah Lucy. Says go specifically to Mount Mariah. What happens on Mount Mariah? What was he telling him to take Isaac there to do? To sacrifice him, right? And it's at this specific place, Mount Mariah. Get me 1 Chronicles 21 and 18.
First Chronicles chapter 21 and verse 18. Then the Malachim of Yahuwah commanded Gad to say to David that David should go up and set up an altar unto Yahuwah in the threshing floor of Ornan.
So he says, so Gad to tell David to set up read that again.
To set up an altar unto Yahuwah in the threshing floor of Ornan.
What happens on altars? Sacrifices, right? Said into the land of Ornan, the Jebusite. Right? So he told David to do this in this specific place. Let's find out where this place is at. Get me 2 Chronicles 3 and 1.
2 Chronicles chapter 3 and verse 1. Then Solomon began to build the house of Yahuwah.
Do what?
To build the house of Yahuwah.
So Solomon's going to build a temple. Read.
At Jerusalem in Mount Moriah.
And where?
In Mount Moriah.
That's where he told him to take Isaac to, right? To be a what? A burnt offering. Read.
Where Yahuwah appeared unto David his father, in the place that David had prepared the threshing floor of Ornan the Jebusite.
So it's the same place that David set this up to do sacrifices at. Same place that Solomon built the temple at, in Mount Mariah. So he's taken Isaac to Mount Mariah as a burnt sacrifice. Keep that in mind. Go back. Genesis 22. The verse you look up, I think it's 3. Maybe 2. Verse 2.
Bereshit chapter 22 and verse 2. And he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and get you into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering.
For what offering?
A burnt offering.
A burnt offering. All right. Hold that. Get Leviticus chapter 1. Pick it up at verse 3.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 1, at verse 3. If his offering be a burnt sacrifice.
Be a what?
Be a burnt sacrifice.
If his offering be a burnt sacrifice, you're taking Isaac to be a burnt sacrifice. Read.
Of the herd, let him offer a male without blemish.
A male without?
Without blemish.
Without blemish. Read.
He shall offer it of his own voluntary will.
Read.
At the door of the tabernacle of the congregation before Yahuwah.
Go ahead.
And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make an atonement for him.
A what?
An atonement for him.
So, in other words, Isaac is being taken to this place to be offered up as a burnt sacrifice and as a what?
Atonement.
So he said he spoke in similitudes, right? He said he declared the end from the beginning. So what is this story really trying to tell us and trying to point us to? We'll see. Go back, Genesis 22. Pick it up at verse 3.
Bereshit chapter 22 at verse 3. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his donkey and took 2 of his young men with him.
He did what?
Took 2 of his young men with him.
Why did he take 2 of his young men with him? According to the law. Yes. 2 witnesses, right? Read.
And Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering.
He did what?
And clave the wood for a burnt offering.
So he just put some wood on Isaac. He laid some wood on Isaac. What did he do that for? And what could that be pointing us to? Read.
And rose up and went unto the place of which Elohim had told him. And on the 3rd day.
On what day?
On the 3rd day.
On the what day?
On the 3rd day.
3rd day. See that in the book a lot. Something about the 3rd day. Read.
Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide you here with the donkey, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son.
So then Isaac is carrying the wood. Go ahead.
And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood.
I see the fire in the wood, but something is missing. Read.
But where's the lamb for a burnt offering?
Oh, but where's the lamb for a burnt offering? So it ain't no lamb there with him. So Isaac must be the lamb. Right? So it ain't no lamb there. So Isaac don't know it, but he the lamb. And who was about to do this to him? His own father about to do this to him, right? Read.
And Abraham said, my son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb.
Wait a minute. Read that again.
And Abraham said, my son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb.
He will do what?
Provide himself a lamb.
He says Elohim will provide for himself a lamb. Not for somebody. He says this is the prophetic answer. He says he's gonna provide for himself a lamb. That's all kinds of deep. Read.
So they went both of them together, and they came to the place which Elohim had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son.
He did what?
And bound Isaac his son.
Bound Isaac his son. Now, it's clear that Abraham is old in the previous chapters, right? So now Isaac is of age right here, right? So this means Abraham is 100 plus something. You think Isaac could have got away? Right? I think he could have got away. Now, it don't say it in this text, but you think he's just basically saying, okay, Daddy, I really don't want to do this, but you want to do it, so I'm just going to go through with it. In other words, I'm going to do your will. I think he could have got away. That was you on there. Your father was doing that to you. What would you do? You ain't gonna let him do what the father asks you? So, how many days was this going on? 3 days, right? So, imagine what Abraham must be thinking for this whole 3 days that they walking. Again, Isaac don't know yet, but he knows the reason that they going to Mount Mariah. He know what they going for. This got to be the worst thing in his mind got to be all over the place. Man, I got to kill my son. And this is the son of the promise. How old you got right there? Get Genesis 17 and 19. So the Most High had already told him that he's going to bless him through this son. But all of a sudden now, you want me to take the promised son and kill him. Read.
Bereshit chapter 17, verse 19. And Elohim said, Sarah your wife shall bear a son indeed.
This is the son, Isaac. Read.
And you shall call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him.
So at this time, Isaac don't have no children, no nothing. So he's got to be wondering in his mind, you told me that this is the promised seed. Now you want me to turn around and kill him? And he going through this for 3 days, right? Keep this in mind. Read.
I will establish my covenant with him for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him.
And with his seed after him. So I'm trying to think of if this was me in this situation. He just told me this. The agony that I will be going through, the thought of this, I gotta kill my baby boy, my only one, the one that I love. I can't even fathom the feeling that he must got. And he actually about to go through with it or attempt it. All right, let's go back. Genesis 22, verse 9.
Bereshit chapter 22 and verse 9. And they came to the place which Elohim had told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood.
So again, there's no anything of Isaac fighting or trying to dispute it. The last thing that this said that Isaac said was, "My father, I see the wood and the fire, but where's the lamb?" So it's no record of Isaac trying to fight back or anything. He's gonna do his father's will. Read.
And Abraham stretched forth his hand and took the knife to slay his son. And the Malachim of Yahuwah called unto him out of Shamaim and said,
Who called to him?
the Malachim of Yahuwah called unto him out of Shamaim.
Wait a minute. It says the Malachim called to him out of Samaim. Keep that in mind. It's the angel that called to him. Read.
And said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. And he said, lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him. For now I know that you fear Elohim.
I know that you fear Elohim. But watch how the text go right here. Read.
Saying you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
Wait a minute. Not from Yah, but from me. So the angel was saying that you didn't, not from Yah, but from me. It clearly let us know that it's the angel that's speaking, right?
Didn't say you will take them.
Exactly. Read that again. Over again.
And he said, lay not your hand upon the lad, neither do you anything unto him. But now I know that you fear Elohim, seeing you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me.
Seeing that you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me. So he's letting you know again, this is the only son, and you didn't withhold him from me. So it's clear this is not the father right here, right? This is quote unquote the Malachim with the same name. Let's get Hebrews chapter 11. Pick it up at verse 17. Yeah, we're coming back here. So he's been going through this for 3 days, right? In his mind, Isaac is good as dead, because he know about this thing for 3 days. Go ahead.
Hebrews 11:17. By faith, Abraham, when he was tried, offered up Isaac. And he that had received the promises offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall your seed be called, accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead.
Even from what?
From the dead.
So we know that Isaac wasn't dead, but in Abraham's mind, he was good as dead. Said he's speaking similitudes. Read.
By faith, Isaac increased. No, let me finish that verse.
19.
Verse 19. Accounting that Elohim was able to raise him up, even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure.
In a what?
A figure.
Meaning like figuratively, right here. So that word in a figure means a place of one thing by the side of another, metaphorically, after this, from G 38:46, a similitude, parable, something that is symbolic, figuratively, parable, proverb. So he told us he speaks these things in similitudes. So is this story really about Abraham and Isaac? Or who is the two that this story is really about? And who else? Exactly. It's really about the Father and the Son. That's what it's really about. So it's a real story, but it's actually pointing us to what the Father was going to do to his special son, only begotten son. That's what this thing is really talking about. Go back to Genesis 22. Pick it up at verse 13.
Bereshit chapter 22 at verse 13. And Abraham lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, behind him a ram.
A what?
A ram.
Not a lamb, but
a ram.
A ram. He told us before, Yahuwah will provide for himself a lamb. But right here, it's a ram that's caught in this thing. Read.
A ram caught in the thicket by his horns.
So instead of Isaac dying, he brings what? A ram, which is a substitute to take the place of him. Just like when we are guilty of our sins, he do what? He sent a substitute to take the place of us, right? Read.
And Abraham went and took the ram and offered him up for a burnt offering in the stead of his son.
So instead of his son, he gets to get him off. Verse 14.
Verse 14. And Abraham called the name of that place Yahuwah Yireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of Yahuwah it shall be seen. And
He called that place what?
Yahuwah Yireh, as it is said to this day, in the mount of Yahuwah it shall be seen.
Meaning Yahuwah will provide for himself a sacrifice or a lamb. What is? Hold that. Get John chapter 8, verse 56. Now remember, this was see if the light. I'm good with it. So it's clear that who called to Abraham to stop him from killing him? Y'all forgot just that quick? Malakim, right? All right. John 8, 56.
John or Yehukanan chapter 8, verse 56. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day.
He did what?
Rejoiced to see my day.
Read.
And he saw it and was glad. Then said the Yehudim unto him, you are not yet 50 years old, and you seen Abraham? And Mashiach said unto him, truly, truly, I say unto you, before Abraham was, I am.
So he said, you know that it was me that was there. I'm the one that called out the sky and told him not to kill the lad. Don't withhold him from me. It was him that was doing this. So when you read Genesis 22, 13, it's clear that it's not Yah right there that's talking. All right. Genesis 22, 15.
Bereshit chapter 22 and verse 15. And the Malakim of Yahuwah called unto Abraham out of Shamaim the second time, and said, by myself have I sworn.
So this Malakim said, by myself have I sworn,
said Yahuwah.
So this being showing he has great authority and great power. And he has the same name as the Father. Right? Because he says, by myself have I sworn. And then he says a second time, by myself have I sworn, saith Yahuwah. Read.
But because you have done this thing, and have not withheld your son, your only son, that in increasing I will increase you, and in multiplying I will multiply your seed as the stars of Shamaim.
So this Malakim, or this angel, says he's going to bless him. He's going to do these things. I'm going to do these things, right? So John letting us know that Mashiach is letting you know that that was me that was talking to him. All right. Hold that. Matthew chapter 1, verse 18.
Matthew chapter 1 at verse 18. Now the birth of Mashiach was on this wise, when as his mother Miriam was espoused to Joseph, before they came together, she was found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh.
She was what?
Found with child of the Ruach HaKodesh.
So was Isaac born the same way that everybody is born? Or something special had to happen, right? So in the similitude, Mashiach is born in a special way. The same type of thing had to go on. We know they'll say, well, Abraham had sex with her though to bring forth this child. We'll get it though. John 3:16.
Yehukanah chapter 3 at verse 16. For Elohim so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son.
His only what?
Begotten son.
His only begotten son. Read.
That whosoever believe in him.
Do what?
Whosoever believe in him.
Again, what is Abraham known for doing? Believing, having faith, right? Read.
Should not perish, but have everlasting life.
Have what?
Everlasting life.
But have everlasting life. So a special son. Get me, because they'll say that this is David. Get Ruth 4:17. Ruth.
Hold on a second.
Here, here. I stole my group.
I just was up there. Must have paid stuff.
Over there as the fight.
Yes, they could. Yes, it is, brother. Yes, it is.
It's okay, Brother Mark. He did it. I see you. I see y'all. He tried it.
All right, Ruth what?
Ruth 4:17.
It still ain't popped up.
Let me start looking.
Use that table, huh?
I'm not using the table, brother.
All right. Let's tell you again, bro.
Yeah, we got it for you.
Let me borrow that right there.
That boy ain't been in a group for years.
All right. Ruth 4:17. And the woman, her neighbors, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi, and they called his name Obed, and he is the father of Jesse, the father of David.
Father of who?
Of David.
Father of David. Anybody know what David's name means? It means what? Beloved. Means beloved. So we know that these names of people got meaning, and it's for a reason. All right? Let's go to Luke chapter 3 and 22. Yeah. Luke 3 and 22.
That's how you know you use it. Luke chapter 3 and verse 22. And the Ruach HaKodesh descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him, and a voice came from the Shamaim, which said, you are my beloved son.
You are my what?
Beloved son.
What did David's name mean? Beloved. Even David's name is pointing you to this. Read that again.
And the Ruach HaKodesh descended in a bodily shape like a dove upon him. And a voice came from Shamaim, which said, you are my beloved son, and you I am well pleased.
In you I am well pleased.
So, David's name is what?
Beloved.
So you are what?
My beloved son. Absolutely. Beloved son. Again, all of this stuff, even the common little names, pointing you to something. Right? So, but remember, Adam had dominion in the beginning, but he lost it. Right? So he was the first. Let's get 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 45.
First Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 45. And so it is written, the first man, Adam, was made a living soul.
The what man?
The first man,
The first man, read.
Adam, was made a living soul. The last Adam was made a quickening ruach.
So the last Adam. So we got a first Adam, and then we got a second Adam. Read.
Howbeit, that was not first which is spiritual, but that which is natural, and afterward that which is spiritual.
So again, they'll say that, well, Abraham had sex with Sarah to bring forth Isaac. But y'all saying that this Messiah is born of a virgin or something like this, right? Showing you. And the similitude, same thing. Give me Genesis chapter 2, verse 6.
Bereshit chapter 2 and verse 6. But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground.
So the ground is moist, or clay is moist. Read.
And Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground.
Did what?
Formed man of the dust of the ground.
Formed man of the dust of the ground. Read.
And breathed into his nostrils.
He did what?
And breathed into his nostrils.
Wait a minute. He had some type of sex went on with the ground. That's what but it ain't no woman involved in this, right? Or who was Adam's mama? The ground, right? But all he did was breathe into it, right? So if he can do this to the ground and a man come out of it, how come he can't do this over here? Exactly with a woman. How come he can't do this? Why do they? Didn't he tell them? Didn't he tell Isaac and Sarah, is it anything too hard for me? So they shortening his arm when they telling you that this can't happen. But it's clear as day that Isaac was not born the same way that everybody else was born. It was a miracle that took place for Isaac to come. Right? Y'all see that, right? Read that again.
And Yahuwah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life.
Breathed into his nostrils. So he blew into this dirt, and a man came out. So we can believe that. But when they come onto this side, that's too hard. That doesn't make sense. Exactly. So you see that this took place. Give me Matthew 17 and verse 5.
Matthew chapter 17 and verse 5. While he yet spake, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. And behold, a voice out of the cloud which said, This is my beloved son.
This is what?
My beloved son.
Same thing. This is my beloved son. That's what David's name means, beloved. Pointing to him. Read.
In whom I am well pleased.
In whom I am well pleased. Exodus 23 and 19. Matter of fact, verse 20.
Exodus, or Shemot chapter 23 and verse 20. Behold, I send a Malachim before you.
Said what?
A Malachim before you.
I send a Malachim before you to do what?
To keep you in the way.
Read.
And to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him.
Do what?
Beware of him.
Beware of him. When you see that sign that say, beware of dog, what does that tell you? Danger, right? Telling you to beware of this one. And do what?
And obey his voice. Provoke him not, but he will not pardon your transgressions. For my name is in him.
For my name is in him. So it's all types of stuff that's going on right here. But they'll tell you that this is Joshua and it's easy to kill. All right. Give me Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 2.
Ephesians chapter 5 at verse 2. And walk in love, as Mashiach also loved us, and hath given himself for an offering and a sacrifice to Elohim.
And a what?
An offering and a sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet smelling savor.
Same thing. How long did this thing go on in Abraham's mind again?
3 days.
3 days, right? Matthew 12 and 40.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 40. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
Same thing. Genesis 22 and 4 again.
Genesis chapter 22 and verse 4. Then on the 3rd day,
What day?
the 3rd day, Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off.
Matthew 26, 38.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 8.
38.
38. Sorry. Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry you here and watch with me.
Now remember, when Isaac was getting there, he says, my father, right? He said, my father, I see the wood and the fire, right? Read on.
And went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my father,
What?
O my father,
Oh, my father.
if it be possible, let this cup pass from me.
Only difference is he know what's about to happen, and Isaac didn't know. Read.
Not as I will, but as you will.
Remember, Isaac didn't fight at all and say nothing. He was still going to do his father's will. Read that again.
O my father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as you will.
Not as I will, but as you will. John 19:7. We're almost done.
John chapter 19 at verse 7. The Yehudim answered him, we have a law, and by our law, he ought to die, because he made himself the son of Elohim.
He did what?
He made himself the son of Elohim.
So he said, by our law, since you're trying to make yourself the son of Elohim, but he didn't make himself this. This is what he was. But they were saying he was trying to be equal with Yah. That's a lie. All right. Genesis 22, verse 6.
Bereshit chapter 22 at verse 6. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and the knife, and they went both of them together.
Go ahead.
And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, Elohim will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. They came to the place which Elohim had told him of, and Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon the wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand.
He did what?
Stretched forth his hand.
So Abraham is about to kill his own son, right? Figure that out?
And took the knife to slay his son.
Hold that. Isaiah chapter 53, verse 4.
Isaiah chapter 53 at verse 4. Surely he hath borne our griefs and carried our sorrows, yet we did esteem him stricken, smitten of Elohim, and afflicted. But he was wounded for our transgression.
For who?
For our transgression.
Go ahead.
He was bruised for our iniquity. The chastisement of his peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed.
Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him.
So who did it? Who was about to do it to Isaac?
Abraham.
His father, right? Right here. Who's doing this?
Yahuwah.
Verse 10. Wow. Go ahead.
Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him. He hath put him to grief. You shall make his soul an offering for sin.
His soul an offering for sin. All right. 2 Corinthians 5:21.
Second Corinthians chapter 5 and verse 21. For he had made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin, that we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him.
Read that again.
For he had made him to be sin for us, who knew no sin.
Just like Isaiah 53 says. Read.
That we might be made the righteousness of Elohim in him.
Romans 8:32.
Romans chapter 8 and verse 32. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all. How shall he not with him also freely give us all things?
So he didn't spare his own son, just like Abraham was not about to spare his own son. Same thing. 1 Corinthians 15. Verse 3.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 3. For I delivered unto you first of all that which I also received, how that Mashiach died for our sins according to the scriptures.
According to what?
To the scriptures.
Go ahead.
And that he was buried, and that he rose again the third day according to the scriptures.
According to the scriptures. Talking about what happened with Isaac. Right? Galatians 3:16.
Galatians chapter 3 and verse 16. Now to Abraham and to his seed were the promises made.
Now to Abraham and to who?
And to his seed.
And to his seed, singular. Right? Read.
He said not into seeds.
Not into seeds. Now that's plural. Read.
As of many, but as of one. And to your seed, which is Mashiach.
Which is what?
Mashiach.
Which is Messiah. Right? 2 Corinthians 1:20. We almost done.
2 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 20. For all the promises of Elohim in him are you, and in him so be it unto the esteem of Elohim by us.
Now, right there, we good. Luke chapter 1:69.
Lucas chapter 1 and verse 69. And I've raised up an horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David, as he spake by the mouth of his Kodesh prophets, which have been since the world began, that we should be saved from our enemies.
That we should be what?
Saved from our enemies.
Saved from our enemies, because we was given over to our enemies through sin, through Adam from the beginning, right? Read.
And from the hand of all that hate us, to perform the mercy promised to our fathers, and to remember his Kodesh covenant.
Do what?
To remember his Kodesh covenant.
His Kodesh covenant. So again, Adam had dominion in the beginning. He's the first Adam. He lost it. So it's up to the second one to get it back. Daniel chapter 7, verse 26.
Daniel chapter 7, verse 26. But the judgment shall sit and shall take away his dominion.
To do what?
Shall sit and shall take away his dominion.
Take away his dominion, because Adam lost dominion. Read.
To consume and to destroy it unto the end.
Go ahead.
And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole Shamayim shall be given to the people of those of the saints of the Most High.
Read it again.
And the dominion and the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole Shamayim shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High.
So it's going to all be turned back over. Everything that Adam originally lost, the second Adam going to bring it back and give it back to the people. All right? That end of that verse 27. Read.
Whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom.
Is what?
Is an everlasting kingdom.
Is an everlasting kingdom. Galatians 3:14. Go ahead.
Whose dominion is whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him.
So serve and obey him. Gotta set it back in order. Adam lost it. We're gonna put it back in line. Galatians 3:14.
Galatians chapter 3 and verse 14. That the increase of Abraham might come on the Gentiles through Mashiach, that we might receive the promise of the Ruach through faith.
The what?
Through faith. Brethren, I speak after the manner of men. Though it be but a man's covenant, yet if it be confirmed, no man disannul it, or add thereto. Now to Abraham and to his seed,
To who?
to his seed,
To his seed. Read.
where the promise is made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as of one.
But as a what?
As of one.
As of one. Which is what? Read.
And to your seed, which is Mashiach.
Which is who?
Mashiach.
Which is Messiah. So it's come through faith. John 5:44.
John, or Yehukanan, chapter 5 and verse 44. How can you believe, which receive honor one of another, and seek not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to the Father. There was one that accused you, even Moshe, in whom you trust. For had you believed Moses,
Had you did what?
for had you believed Moses,
Had you believed Moses, Abraham is all about his faith, which is to believe. Read.
you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you
wrote of me, read.
But if you believe not his writings, how shall you believe my word?
How shall you believe my words? That script, Galatians 4:4. Galatians 4:4.
Galatians chapter 4 at verse 4. When the fullness of the time was come, Elohim sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because you are sons, Elohim have set forth the Ruach of his son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. Wherefore you are no more a servant, but a son. And if a son, then an heir of Elohim through Mashiach.
Through who?
Through Mashiach.
Through Messiah. So again, this whole story of Isaac and Abraham and them being old, it's a true story, but it's a prophetic story. It's actually trying to show you how the Messiah was going to come onto the scene and everything that he was going to be doing, just like Abraham them, was lost in belief and thinking that we too old and this stuff can't happen. He was showing you that this is exactly what people was going to think in this time when he sent his son for a whole bunch of people ain't going to believe it. So with that, say shalom.
Yo, so.
Any questions? No.
Well, I'll try. I couldn't find that book.
Comments, questions, nothing?
You got a question? Right there? Anybody? No?
I got similitude.
Similitude?
Bring it on. We're gonna go with Abraham and Sarah. I think it's one scripture. You can sum it up. Obedience is better than sacrifice.
Okay.
That's exact.
What's your name?
There you go.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
There is no evil.
This is a circle. No angles. They got it right.
All right, well, we're done.
Shalioso.
Shelly. Oh, so Shelly.
What does he say? See? Am I finished? Nah, you finna say.